Hello crochet friends! If you, like me, are a bargain conscious crafter, then the chances are high you have already checked out the crochet items available at Dollar Tree. If you're not aware, Dollar Tree does have a large aisle full of crafting supplies as well as kits. They also carry a selection of yarn. Most of the yarn that I have seen at Dollar Tree has been Just Yarn, which is made by Premier Yarns. I have also seen a Crafters like Dollar Tree brand of yarn there, as well as some little mini crafting skeins of Red Heart. They also have some crochet hooks available that are metal with a plastic ergonomic handle. They only come in 3 sizes, but they're pretty darn decent for $1.25, so if you see them, I would recommend grabbing some for yourself. Recently, I was on a trip to Dollar Tree and they had just restocked some crafting kits. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you may have seen a previous video where I used a Dollar Tree crochet kit to make a succulent. I will put a link to the video down in the description for you. While I was there, I picked up some new crochet kits from Dollar Tree. Now these are different crochet kits than I saw available in the past, so I thought that this would be a fun opportunity for us to try it out and compare them to the previous one, as well as to just see how good these kits are and if they're good for beginners. Not everyone that does a crochet kit is a beginner. However, I think that the target market for crochet kits are beginners. If you've been crocheting for a while, like me, you probably already have crochet hooks, yarn, and know where to find some patterns. But if you're a beginner, you may not know where to source all of these things or what you're going to need. So these kits are usually a good option for them to get their foot in the door and see if making crochet items is for them. Most of the crochet kits I've seen out there are for amigurumi. However, if you know of some crochet kits that are not amigurumi centered, please drop me a comment down below and let me know where we can all find them, and maybe I can grab one and give that a try as well. The kit we're trying today is a Crafter's Square brand crochet kit for a turtle. It might be hard to tell from there, but this picture looks heavily edited and probably altered by AI. So I am curious to see how our finished turtle turns out compared to the picture on the cover of this kit. Okay, now that the stage has been set and we know exactly what we're doing, let's take our kit and go get crocheting. All right, we have entered the crafting zone here at my work table, and I have our crochet kit right here ready to go for us as well. The previous crochet kits I got were in a little box. This has everything contained inside of a plastic bag that is just stapled to this paper card. I can already see a slight issue. The eyes that are in here are googly eyes. They are not safety eyes. And there's no adhesive inside of this kit, so there's a big negative for you. The plastic sewing needle looks really flimsy, and it does also contain a plastic crochet hook and not a metal crochet hook. So I do foresee us having some issues using this kit with these eyes as well as the plastic tools that they have provided. I could be wrong though. Let's dig into this kit and see. As I said in the introduction, the picture on the cover of this kit does not look like they actually crocheted this. It kind of looks like they used AI to alter it. It does not look wholly correct. There's just something uncanny about it, which makes me suspect that this photo has been heavily altered. We're going to keep our photo reference nearby so we can see what our turtle is supposed to look like according to the cover of this kit. We have our written instructions, and I can already see that the picture of the finished item that they've got here looks highly different in some critical ways from the cover of this kit. So we've got our 3 colors of yarn, our stuffing, which is sealed in plastic, and then all of our other tools are in another plastic bag. So you can see here, these are just plain old googly eyes with flat backs. I suppose they would be easy to glue on with some kind of a glue, but they don't give you any glue, nor does it say anywhere on the kit that that is going to be necessary. It should make our turtle look comedic to have googly eyes on him. We'll just place these off to the side. This is the flimsiest sewing needle I have ever seen. I have high doubts that this is even going to be useful to use for sewing because it is so flimsy. We will find out when it comes time to sew our turtle together just how capable this plastic needle is for the job. And then we have our plastic crochet hook. It's not as flexible as the needle, so that's a good sign. It does have some give to it, but hopefully this will be just fine for our purposes of making this kit. This print is also tiny. I'm gonna have to bust out my glasses. They're dirty. Can't read through dirty glasses. I have the instructions right here, ready to read. I'm going to read these over quickly and see if it makes sense or if there's any glaring errors. The first side of the instruction sheet just kind of walks you through how to do some basic crochet things. It tells you how to make a chain, how to work into a chain, how to work into a round, how to change color, although it's not very clear to people the way that they describe this on changing color. Then it goes over sewing seams and kind of tells you where things are going to be sewn together. Okay, I'm seeing an immediate problem. I thought this was just a general overview, and when I flipped over to the back side, it's just in French. These are all of the instructions. You will sew 8 crochet loops for the first row, 10 loops for the second row, 12 loops for the third row, but never tells you how to increase or where those increases take place. It just tells you the stitch count on your rows. It looks like, just looking at the pictures and stuff, that the tail and feet are just made flat, but it's confusing because on the shell it refers to rows instead of rounds, but then on the parts that look flat to me, it refers to rounds instead of rows. I'm definitely assuming that this is written by AI. Well, lucky for you guys, I know how to crochet already, so I could actually make this kit. I'm gonna try to do what it says. It doesn't tell you where to place your increases, and it doesn't make sense, but let's try. We're gonna try. The whole point of this video is I'm here to try. I have a feeling this turtle's not going to turn out. I'm gonna put my skepticism and bad juju aside here and try to actually crochet. So we're starting with our pinkish colored yarn. All right, I'm going to, based on looking at the photographs, assume that our shell is worked in the round. So I'm going to start with a magic circle. All right, so we're gonna start with 8 single crochets.
Working with this plastic hook was definitely an adjustment, but I managed to get a feel for it and increase my speed as I went on. The way this pattern is written, it is clear to me that it was made using generative AI. The pattern is not written using correct crochet terminology. It keeps telling you to sew the crochet loops rather than to do a stitch or to call out those stitches by name. It never tells you when to do your increases or decreases, it just gives you a total stitch count number. Most crochet patterns worked in the round are worked in multiples of 6 or 8, but this one only has you increase or decrease by 2 stitches. It doesn't tell you when to do those, so I just placed them evenly on those rounds. And since it doesn't tell you when you're working flat or working in the round, it never tells you to close your work, nor does it tell you when to stuff things, so I just went ahead and stuffed it when I thought it made sense.
I have done the number of stitches and rounds that the instructions say to do for our turtle shell. However, this is not a shell for a turtle. I'm pretty positive someone made a turtle and then the instructions are AI. There's no way a human being would tell you to do this. But we're going to keep going. We will persevere because that is what you're here for. You're here to see me make this kit to the best of my abilities. I'm gonna keep going and make the body, and why would there be a shell and a body? Isn't the shell the body? I am thoroughly confused. I'm going to move on and make the head and the feet and the tail, and then see what this looks like when we've got those parts made.
The head of your turtle in the images looks pretty round, but in these instructions, it makes just one kind of long fingery shape. I left the end of the neck open because I thought that would make it a little easier to sew to the rest of the turtle. I added stuffing to the head and neck, but I opted to leave stuffing out of the legs just because of the size and shape. I thought it would work better that way. The instructions have you make your front legs larger than the back legs, which is how it is in the pictures, but the pictures also look like the front and back legs are made working flat instead of in the round, and they are a completely different shape than the legs it instructs you to create. The rear legs have you reduced down to 3 stitches, which is pretty small, so I decided to seam those closed to make it easier to attach. Having the shell and body be different pieces really confused me because I think when you would normally construct a crochet turtle, you would have the body be a part of the shell. It tells you in the instructions about how to do color changes, and I think what would have been the appropriate thing here would have been to make the shell the right size and then to change colors to the body color and maybe continue on that way. If you look at the pictures, the body of the turtle does appear to look green on the underside, the same color as the head and legs and tail. I have finished making all of these pieces, and what a ride this has been. I don't know what kind of an abomination we're going to end up with, but I know for a fact it won't be a turtle. The only way I could see to fit these parts together that would make sense to even come close to resembling a turtle and the photos is to not stuff the body and then sew it to the shell lengthwise. Otherwise, we're never going to have room to attach all of these parts. Now it's time for me to sew these parts together. Sew those parts together, as it says, using the world's flimsiest freaking needle. I am going to stop stalling, and I am going to go ahead and try to sew those parts together. I have used some plastic sewing needles before in my life, but this plastic sewing needle is so incredibly flimsy, it's really difficult to use. I did manage to get the parts sewn together using it, but I honestly think it was a miracle I was able to do so. Because it is so flimsy and thin, if it meets any resistance, it tries to bend and go a different direction. So you have to be really creative with how you get that needle to go where you want it to go. I started by sewing the head and the tail to the shell to give me some reference points. Then I attached the arms and legs so that way they would at least be evenly spaced. Between this flimsy needle and the weird shapes, I did my best, but he is a little wonky.
Okay, turtle's done. He looks like a turtle that got run over by a truck. I'm going to go ahead and embroider the little black marks onto his shell, even though it never actually tells you to do it anywhere. It does show that in all of the images, so I'm gonna do it, but it's gonna look like tire marks. He really is a roadkill turtle, isn't he? Poor little guy. Okay, I'm gonna embroider his tire tracks onto his shell and glue his googly eyes on, and then we will get to appreciate him in all of his glory.
I did my best to replicate the images, going around and sewing sequences of 3 lines that were about 2 or 3 stitches long and 1 stitch apart, and kind of randomly placed them around the turtle. Because of the weird shape of this shell, it was a little difficult to place them and space them in a way that they weren't touching, but also that there weren't a bunch of gaps on the shell. Once that was done, I grabbed my E6000 and used that to attach the googly eyes on either side of my turtle's head, and then he was complete.
Are you ready to see the monstrosity that I have created? I'm gonna need you to prepare yourself before I show you what this looks like now that I've got him completed, okay? Take a deep breath. Remember what a turtle looks like. Remember what any crochet turtle you've ever seen looks like, okay? He honestly looks like he's been run over by an 18-wheeler, and especially because his like neck is so long, and then the googly eyes really don't help. This has got to be one of the silliest things I've ever made. I've made a lot of silly things, but I really think this takes the cake. So if you're wondering whether or not you should buy a crochet kit from Dollar Tree, my vote is for no. The instructions were gibberish, and the final result is definitely not a turtle and is nothing like the pictures that are included in the kit. The only reason I even got anything that even like remotely resembles a turtle out of this is because I already know how to crochet. Like, if you were trying to learn how to crochet, you would never be able to follow those instructions. They are not real instructions. And there are other crochet kits that you can get to learn how to make amigurumi that will actually teach you how to do it, unlike these things from Dollar Tree. If you're wondering what ChatGPT would do if you asked it how to make a turtle, this is what you would get. This is an AI generated crochet pattern. Of course, now that I've spent hours making him, I'm kind of endeared to him. He's kind of cute. Why is it that the instant I start filming, my cat has to eat food? He's just got to go crunch on some kibble. I kind of love my flat turtle son, my roadkill turtle child. He's kind of cute. He's so stupid looking though. Tell me what you think I should name my roadkill turtle child down in the comments. Flat Freddy. I hope that you enjoyed watching me struggle through making this crochet kit to create this abomination of a turtle. If you did, please consider liking the video and subscribing, because I upload crochet videos like this as well as tutorials every other Wednesday, and I love to make new crochet friends. Speaking of crochet friends, you can always follow me and Flat Freddy here on social media. I am Graceface Creates on all platforms. Now, if you will excuse me, I am going to go and see if my turtle child is turtly enough for the Turtle Club. Thanks again for watching, and happy crocheting.